All right, thanks for joining me. So today I want to try to answer the question, are narcissists demonically possessed? And, that is a strong statement, and there's a very deep divide in the mental health community and the spiritual community in regards to these kinds of people. And this came to my attention when I was researching narcissism and trying to learn and gain understanding. And I'm sure that you are researching narcissism and trying to learn and gain understanding, and you're coming across mental health professionals, but then also everyday normal people that are speaking about this demonic possession. So if you take a second and think about the current situation with people in general for this time, in this modern time, you really see the correlation between spiritual sickness of people and all these mental health problems, physical problems, emotional problems, problems with the family, everything. All throughout society, there's signs of a spiritual sickness. People's spirits are sick. People aren't spiritual anymore. And in my opinion, the reason why there's so many narcissistic people in society is that it's reflecting that. And, people have largely moved away from the church and religion and, values like family and just general morality. That was the fabric of society. That has changed. Society and life for people has become very individualistic and very self-centered. And so narcissists embody that completely. Their entire thing is how they're self-centered. So, the big debate is, so are the narcissists demonically possessed, or are they just wounded children? And I would say, from what I've observed, is that it's actually both. And in my opinion, and what I'm proposing, is that the thing about the devil and demons is they're rampant throughout society, and they're always knocking at the door. And the thing is that you have to let them in. And so what I believe happens with these narcissists is that, yes, in childhood or sometime throughout their life, they do experience abuse and trauma, and they don't know how to deal with it, and they cope with it in a negative way, and that is then reinforced. And then they, in turn, choose bad behavior that invites an evil presence into their life. And then, when that evil presence is knocking at the door, they let it right in. And then that evil presence fuels them to create chaos and wreak havoc throughout society. Because when you think about, what the devil wants to do, on earth, is destabilize people and society. Turn earth into a hell. And, that is definitely happening right now. And the narcissists are the perfect minions of this, because they've already committed themselves to wanting to, destabilize society and do nefarious things to people. And so what it seems like to me is then they invite that evil presence in their life, and then it's reinforcing their behavior, and so it's fueling them to just do bad things in life and throughout society. And so in my opinion, yes, they are demonically possessed. And when you start learning about demonic possession, and you start understanding the different traits and the signs, and from what I've observed from my narcissistic mother, it's really interesting. Number one, these demons have a horrible smell. I can smell my narcissistic mother, man, and it is strong. It's a strong, like, musk. And, like, I don't have to see her, but if she's, 20 feet away, I can smell her. And that is definitely one of those demonic things. Is like they have this awful smell. Another thing that's really interesting about this demonic possession is I'll see her, and I don't know if she knows that I can see her if anyone's watching her, but her body kind of has these interesting, kind of like contorted, strange looks when she's walking around. That's kind of strange. And then so another thing that is strange is that, so we live like 50 feet from their house. They live in the big main house. My wife and kids and I live in the small guest house, and there's just a little driveway that separates it. So my mother is outside, and she has these little rat flower beds that she tends that look terrible. Anyway, whatever. It's right outside of our guest house door. And my wife is inside with the baby. And my narcissistic mother then turns to the house while my wife's inside with the baby, and I don't think my mother knew they were in there, and she starts yelling at the house all like crazy, and it startled my wife, and she goes to the window to see what is this yelling, and the narcissist is standing there yelling at our house. What was she saying? Stick it up your ass! Stick it up your ass! Up your ass! And she kept saying that over and over again. And this like went on for like 10 minutes. Yelling, in the neighborhood. And she told me about it, and I was like, man, if that's not a demonic possession, I mean, I guess you could chalk it up to mental illness. But still, strange behavior. So another thing we do to mess with her is, there's certain symbols that you can, like they're charms, and they're like anti-demonic symbols. And so, like, I'll put those, like, we can get little bracelets at like a hippie store or something, and I'll put those around, and I don't know if that does anything. Like I'll put one outside on the playset to keep her away from there. Who knows if that does anything, to try to just like see what her response is to that. My daughter wears one on a little charm on her bracelet, to try to protect her from that evil presence. But talking to my dad about my mother's behavior and not saying anything about some demonic possession at all, he agreed. Yeah, she is an evil person. And so, my feeling is that yes, these people are demonically possessed, and that throughout society this is a problem, and the spiritual sickness that is occurring, we're seeing that with the fallout of morality, behavior, and this rampant narcissism and other problems that people are experiencing. And what's interesting too is how they draw their energy, because the sheer will that these narcissists possess is amazing. They have so much willpower and so much energy to really inflict harm on people, and that has to come from somewhere, because inspiration comes from another place, and that place can be good or it can be bad, and these narcissists are inspired to really do bad throughout the world. So that is my take on, are these narcissists demonically possessed? Anyway, I hope this was informative for you, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.